Hello everyone, my name is Trevor. Welcome back to my channel. Today, with the recent release of The Matrix Resurrections, we will be ranking all four Matrix films. I didn't include the Animatrix. I haven't seen it. It's kind of like loose canon, so I didn't include it. I I don't know. I was on the fence about it, but ended up just going with the four live action films. So it's just those four. But I'll probably watch the Animatrix eventually. But for now, we're just going over The Matrix, The Matrix Reloaded, The Matrix Revolutions, and The Matrix Resurrections. I would love to see your rankings in the comments below. Number 4, The Matrix Revolutions. I swear eventually I'm going to mess up on the title since they all start with R as the subtitle. But The Matrix Revolutions, the third installment in the franchise. This film tries to do a lot, and it ends up just doing nothing. And I don't even know if that's true. It does something. It just feels like it does nothing. Because that implies that there isn't a lot going on, and there's definitely a lot going on in this movie. It's so all over the place. It wants to wrap up the Matrix franchise in this glorified way, and Neo just becomes like Jesus, and it kind of devolves into this weird mess, where nothing it kind of loses all sense of stakes. Nothing feels like it really has weight, even though it's supposed to be emotional. It feels like it's just telling you that you should be emotional and you should care, when I personally really didn't care at this point in the franchise. It had already kind of started to lose me, and I couldn't care less about what happened to these characters. So when half the movie is just like these glorified heroic emotional moments, they didn't mean anything to me. I couldn't connect. Number 3, The Matrix Resurrections. Here it is. Shows up at number 3. This is also very much a mess of a movie, but not in the worst way possible. There was a good movie that existed here somewhere. It's here. I don't know. There are times where it feels like it's a parody of itself. Because we have Neo as a video game designer of the Matrix, and then they're like, Warner Brothers wants to make a sequel series, and it's okay, so that's just haha, we're making fun of that we're doing a fourth one. But that, then it just goes full in with fan service and nostalgia. You can't be no, sequels are bad, but then just do all of the sequel slash reboot things. There were a couple twists that were pretty terrible. I want to try and stay spoiler free on this since it just came out, but there are a couple twists that were pretty terrible, and just all of the action just felt so tired at this point. I didn't really feel like anything inventive was done that we hadn't seen before in previous Matrix films. It just kind of felt like a bland Matrix film that didn't really know what it wanted to be. It kind of tried to be self-aware, but then didn't fully commit to the ideas of being self-aware, and it just is kind of ending up as this lost, muddled mess of trying to be everything and ending up as nothing. Number 2, The Matrix Reloaded. This is a perfectly fine movie. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't remember a lot of it, even though I watched it last week. I found it very forgettable. I watched it back to back with Revolutions. Revolutions was more memorable just for all of the wrong reasons. And this one just kind of I don't remember being upset after watching it. I wasn't well, that was a waste of time. It was just that exists and I can now move on with my life. It didn't provoke any kind of thoughts, or I didn't question anything afterwards, or commit any kind of brain space to it. It was just that was an okay movie, and all of this has kind of made me appreciate the original film, which I'm sure by now you've guessed is number 1, a lot more, just for some of the questions that it poses, contrary to these other films that are really lacking in that. And while all three of them really lacked to pose any kind of new or interesting questions, I don't hate Reloaded because like there's not that much to hate. It kind of exists in this vacuum of which is better than the the two muddled messes that followed it. Number one, The Matrix. I think this is almost everybody's number one. And I have a very complicated relationship with this film. Over the past year and a half or so now, which is when I watched it for the first time, I have gone back and forth on my opinions of this. I think I started with a 4, then I dropped to like a 3, then I was at like a 3.5, then a 3. Like I've been all over the place, like kind of in the middle of the rating scale out of 5. I've never per se disliked this film. I just never really got all of just like the like relentless admiration and love and praise that the film got. I didn't get it. It didn't really make sense to me. On this rewatch and seeing the rest of the Matrix films, I do appreciate it a little bit more. Just seeing how much of like head and shoulders above it is in contrast to the rest of the franchise. Because it is the very, very clear number one for me against all these other films. And like with The Matrix, I don't think that you can deny its influence and its like visual stature. What it did for like visual effects, and like even just like sound editing, how it played with editing. It's very, very influential. Especially in 1999, how it addressed like dystopian future and like computers, like massively influential film. Me being born 6 years after the release of the film and not seeing it until 2019 or 2020, a lot of the impact was left on me, and I don't think I'll ever be able to love this movie in the same way as other people. I feel like the plot is just a very basic hero's journey plot that felt kind of boring. And the main draw of the film was really just the visual prowess, which there's nothing wrong with, but I don't think that makes like a masterpiece of a film. But yeah, I didn't hate it. I think this is probably actually the most I've liked this film on rewatch, once again, especially compared to the other 3 films in the franchise. So while I don't think that this film is a masterpiece, I wouldn't say that I love it. I do think that it is a good, teetering on very good film, and it is my favorite of the Matrix franchise. But once again, I would love to hear your rankings of the Matrix franchise in the comments, as well as your thoughts on the Matrix Resurrections. If you would like to see more movie reviews or rankings, consider subscribing. It's free. You can unsubscribe later. You know, the whole YouTube thing. I don't care, but you can do it if you'd like. But until next time, stay safe, everybody, and goodbye.